event. It's going to go to Beard in the Boat.
You're in the boat?
Check. Beard in the Boat website. That one, it says excellent connection. I'm going live in Go live. Go live. Go live. All right. We're on.
We're live again. 5th episode.
5th. Multiple places.
That's pretty crazy.
All right. That's great. We'll give it a few minutes since this is a surprise show. That's what we like to do it because we never have time for anything.
We never tell people that real time we're going to do it.
Right. We can't have that much responsibility.
Right. For those who don't know, I'm Justin Grafton. I'm a portrait photographer volume in Oregon, Astoria, Oregon.
Huh. You think we need to do that?
Everybody knows you, but they don't know me.
Nobody does it. It's like it's only in Facebook groups. They're pretty small, but Lisa said. Maybe. Yeah. I'm Jay. Hello. I guess we have to work on our introduction. We didn't do that between last show and this show. Everybody, Lisa said we need to work on your introduction, and we did not.
We never do.
Yep. Okay. All right. Now I can see. All right. Looks like everybody is. Well, we got at least one viewer.
Where are we broadcasting this right now?
We have. We're on Boat Rate Boot Camp. We are on Volume Photographers Modern and Classic. We're on Photo Day Users, and we're Beard in the Boat YouTube channel. We actually have a YouTube channel now. It got suspended it got terminated.
Yeah, they just shut us down. We don't even know why. Shut us down last week.
We don't know why. And then we came right back up. So all's good. So we have our YouTube channel back. So I'm not quite sure what happened. That was a little weird. Yeah.
I'm gonna follow the one on YouTube too.
Are you not even following our YouTube channel?
I'm subscribed.
Okay.
Oh,
that's good. I actually
live.
See. Yeah. Emily Davis is here. Emily Davis is, she's kicking some ass in Texas.
Oh my God. We can't even keep up with her. And she's teamed up with other photographers from your boot camp.
Jennifer.
And they're like running all of Texas.
Yeah. I can't wait to see how. They're doing great.
I got to give a shout out to Emily though. She showed me where to go to get that spandex backdrop. Rose Coleman had told me she uses spandex for her black backdrops. I don't know if that's secret or not, but I couldn't find where that was.
Thought that was.
And Emily Hart Davis told me where to get it, and I used it this last week on dance photos, and it was amazing. Yeah. So much better than dealing with a big roll of paper. Holy cow! So thank you, Emily.
Yeah. Yeah, that was awesome. That's good news.
Life-changing.
I spent the last week taking photos in Florida and battling the wind. So, I think wind and elements is what we're going to kind of be the subject because I feel like the whole country got windy. And I'm not quite sure what's going on, but the whole country got windy over the last 3 weeks. Was it windy in Oregon?
Yeah, it's been,
it's always windy, right?
Yeah, but we had a huge storm the last day and a half. I mean, it was blowing 60, 70 miles an hour for a day and a half. So, but we're not outside in that anyway.
Yeah, but 60 to 70. Yeah, that's crazy.
20 to 30 mile an hour wind, though, when you're shooting volume, that's tough.
That's terrible.
That's tough. Yeah. And
we've
all been there.
Yeah. I've been there. Like, I've had, like, a shoot with wind. You know what I mean? Like, 2 shoots, a season where the wind was pretty bad, but the last 3 weeks the wind was really bad, like lifting heavy stuff up with sandbags. So it was a huge pain. It was very stressful, but at the end, like this week, I finally kind of think I figured it out, like how to deal with elements. Nothing's fallen down, nothing, no lights went over, no scrims went over. Not much you can do about hair except for ask people to please secure your hair, girls. Not much you can do with that.
That's isn't that the pits when they show up and they did their hair and they curled it and it's all down and you're like, and it's just, what are you going to do? There's nothing you can do. You just get a ponytail in. Let's go.
I know. And I hate too, those like especially you put the sun at their back, and everything looks beautiful except for all those stragglies up there. I mean, I guess you need to bring hairspray and stuff, but I think that like outside it's a little bit different situation. Indoors you can bring some hairspray or whatever, and just but outside it's just a different ballgame.
Indoor the trick is you get dryer sheets that you throw in the dryer,
the static,
and you can the static cleaner or whatever, and you rub that down the hair, and it kills all the flyaways instantly.
Little trick. All right, so my question to you is, I know what I like, but my question to you is, if let's say, because I use the Dark Sky app, which has been really fantastic. I love that app because it shows me like the direction of the wind, how fast it's going to be blowing. It's been really consistent. It'll like warn me like rain's coming in 5 minutes, and it's been the best weather app I've had that's been able to help me predict what's going on. And I never had to do this before, but I've actually had to pay attention to the direction of the wind. You know what I'm saying? Like usually I'm worried about the direction of the sun, but now I have to worry with it being so windy last 3 weeks. I was looking at the direction of the wind most because I was like, well, I can always scrim if I have to. But I need to know which direction that wind is going to blow in order to set up my lights properly. So let's just say if the wind is blowing a direction, where are you going to position? Because you're for outdoor shooters, your scrim's on one side, typically on the side, and the main light is on the other side, opposite. Yeah. Typically that's the way it works. So which one do you want to go on downwind?
Well, it depends on your modifiers, but really, I mean, so there's your decisions you have to make. The size of that main modifier. Some people will go with smaller ones. You always use that big one no matter what. You seem to always find a way to do it. I know what you're going to say because we talked about it already, but I've had to do that where I know I cheated a little bit, but we talked about it where you try and put stakes in, and sometimes the wind is strong enough to blow, to still move your big. It's a kite. It's a huge kite, yes. A big wind surface area. But they're shaped like a torpedo if you point them into the wind, right? The opposite direction that you
with the wind.
With the wind.
Yeah. I've been trying to I've been trying to point the main light source with the wind. Yes.
And then
with the wind.
What about the scrim? Yeah. Are you running it super flat so the wind doesn't blow the scrim over? Yeah.
Yes. Trying to get the scrim as flat as I can, right? So the wind will just go over and under it. And depending on which way the wind is blowing, I'll put we call them tea bags. You know, those little 5 or 10 pound bag. They look like tea bags. You know what I'm saying? On both sides. They're called BOA bags. One brand of them is called a BOA bag. And I have a bunch of them. They're like, I love those things because it helps counterbalance when you use booms. I use booms almost for everything. So we have a lot of BOA bags. There's BOA, and then Kupo makes them as well. And so if the wind is blowing my scrim like this way, then I'll put a BOA bag like right on the almost on the end of the boom arm where the scrim is, because you typically supposed to put a BOA bag on the other end to help counterbalance, right? Yeah. But if the wind keeps blowing it up, I put it to where it helps to keep that scrim down. If that makes sense.
Oh, you're adding more weight. You're putting it right where you connect.
Yeah. So that way it's like keeping it from going up. You know what I'm saying? So it's putting a little bit more weight on that scrim, and it seems to really work well as long as you put it flat. But man, as soon as you put that thing a little bit like this, the wind's blowing on it, you can forget about it. I lifted up one the other day that had the other thing that I really learned is, and I used this to my advantage at one shoot. We had it was crazy. I think 70 teams on this shoot. And what I did was I moved my initial line, which usually I have my line come right up to where, where we're posing the kids, because I want to take the photo and move a kid in right away, right? So with the wind being so bad, I moved my line way away, and I told the parents, like, y'all got to stay away because I'm worried about my scrim flipping. And as soon as I said that, I said it to one lady, like probably 3 hours into the shoot, I said, this scrim right here, I'm worried about it. So y'all move all the way back to where I had set up. Sure enough, the biggest wind of the day came up, and I had about 70 pounds of sandbags on that thing, and it went over. And I tried to catch it, and I went, I thought you could catch those things. Nope, not when it was a 40-pound stand and all those, and but the thing is, I positioned in a spot where there will never be any kids. You know what I'm saying? Like and that was my biggest thing about that shoot is we had 3 individual lines. 2 of the lines were set up where the scrims, if it flipped, it wouldn't hurt anybody. But there was one line that was like, oh my God, if there's a line right beside it where, all the kids were sitting, if that thing flips, man, it's going to hit those kids. And I called Karina and she was at home office, like, we're going to have to cancel because I can't, I don't want anybody to get hurt. Like, it's not worth it for us to be out here. And, of course, there's no dates on the calendar. There's no time and we're like, can we do something during the week? They're like, no, all these fields are taken. So we have no dates. So we actually ended up eliminating one line. And I talked with the league and I was like, hey, listen, we're probably going to run behind, but we got to go to 2 lines because, there was a safety issue. And we just had people hold the scrims, stand beside the scrims and hold them, as a precautionary measure. And of course, like an hour later, the wind died down. So we got to shoot in, everything was fine, but it was a good learning experience, man. I mean, I've never dealt with wind like that, and having to deal with it for 3 weeks in a row was terrible.
Yeah. It's the pits. I mean, it makes you make decisions. I mean, sometimes it gets bad enough out here where we'll just use the beauty dish, bag the crap out of it. And just still go with wherever the sun's at. It's just, you got to make a decision and you still got to get good photos and the show must go on basically. So, I mean, That's the name of the game.
Yeah. I mean, we have no date. Well, it's fortunate that we don't have any dates. You feel happy about it, but at the same time it sucks because I faced the same situation in Florida last week. It was like, where do we move? We thought it was going to rain, like where are we going to move? Like we have no place. I had to stay in Florida an extra day, or that wouldn't have been bad. But it's just tough when every weekend's booked.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, at that point, you kind of understand being inside a lot, But we still, it was stressful, but we still got all the shoots in. We still got them all in. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and what's amazing though is like you don't ever stray from your style either. You will fight that until you figured it out. So commendable, sir. Commendable. I would have quit early and went right with hard modifiers out of the gate. I'm not using all this crap. And I'd immediately went the easy route and it would have changed the light a little bit, but I'd have still just changed everything. Yeah.
Well, we did have a situation where we had to drop Jody off of the shoot, and I was concerned because she was there just with one other assistant. And so she did use a hard light. She had to use, just a reflector, and she just came back. She said, I'm just, everything went fine. It was just a makeup shoot. So there's probably, 20 athletes or something like that. And we were doing league a favor. They put us in a crappy position, and, the wind was bad. So it is what it is. But it's noticeably different, rather than having that softbox. I mean, I don't mind just taking, using one light. You know what I'm saying? Like if I, always like to have my rim light, have the 2 lights set up. But if it's so windy and I'm worried about that strip light falling down, then I will take that off and have one light and then use my resources, meaning using that stand to put beside the main light so it won't blow over. And that was Brad Shook, is part of the Boat Ride Boot Camp. He kind of had the original idea of putting stands on both sides of the softbox and basically clamping it together. And so that way, if you have Octobox, it doesn't move. And so I kind of modified version. I have these big Matthews stands that weigh 40 pounds each, 45 pounds. And I will put it, if my softbox main light is pointing towards the wind, right? It's pointing towards the wind. Which sucks, but sometimes you have to do that. Then it wants to go both ways, right? It sometimes wants to go this way. Sometimes it wants to go this way if you're straight to the wind. So if you put, I'll either turn it completely sideways and then put the heavy light stand there so it won't move. And I'll put light stands on both sides, if that makes sense. And that worked out really well. Had no issues after that.
I mean, not everybody has 40-pound stands, but I don't even know.
Well, if you live in a windy place, though, that might be a good investment. You know what I'm saying? And the other thing that you could use, and I introduced this piece of equipment to Dave Stock, and he uses it. I just don't use it. I probably should, but it's called the Claw. Have you ever heard of the Claw? So
No,
the claw,
maybe.
It's like a 3-pronged thing, and it's made like it's like it's three little arms, right? And in the middle, there's an eye. What do you call it? Eye bolt? Is that what we call it? Your construction eye bolt on the top of it, right? So
yeah.
you have 9
Was
inch
it for
nails.
tying dogs down out on the field? Is
No,
it like one
it's
of
for
those?
airplanes. It's like for airplanes, like for
Oh, so it's
small.
heavy duty.
Yeah. So I mean, but it's very lightweight. It's made out of aluminum, and it has 3 little arms. And you put it in the ground, and it comes with 9-inch nails, right? And then you just and the nails go in like this, at an angle. So we used to use them when we were had tents all the time. We had the pole tents, and that tent would not blow away. It would, if the wind got bad, it would bend around the claw before the tent would blow away. You know what I mean? It's not going anywhere. So you could combine a claw and like a rope ratchet is what we used. And you could put that on the stand and secure it to the ground. That stand will not go anywhere. It'll break your light it'll break the attachment to the light before the stand will go anywhere. But, yeah, so you could use that, but we're not always in a place. We have a lot of turf that we have to deal with. So I can't use the claw all the time. Yes.
The Claw C101 Earth Anchoring System.
Yeah.
On Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to bolt a light stand down to the ground and you're on grass, your grass, you're all grass.
Yeah, so, mostly.
Yeah, you buy like 4 or 5 of those things and you put a stand down, it is not going anywhere. You're all set. Because the harder the wind blows, the more because it's at an angle, you know what I mean? So it's not going to come out of the ground. So
crazy.
Yeah, those, and then if you combine it with a rope ratchet, the rope ratchets are awesome. And that rope ratchet is real easy, quick setup. And you'll be anchored to the ground. You won't have to worry about it. But that doesn't account for the light stand spinning though, right?
I feel like you could tie it, like you could probably figure out how to just tie that with your ratchets both directions and just pull down, and it'd probably suck that up tight, and that's all you would need.
Well, I need this. I have a bunch of claws because we used to do tents all the time. For the whole weekend we do action photography, and so the whole weekend we'd have those tents up, and so we always had a bucket of claws. I have a whole bucket of claws and rope ratchets. I need to send them to Brad and tell him to go to work, figure out a way to secure light stands with the claw.
Engineer that up. Yeah.
Engineer it up. Make a template. So yeah, that works out really well. But yeah, and I've been using that SMDV softbox. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Love
yes.
Is
it SMDV? What? Yeah.
SMDV, I think. And I think Glow's making them now too, right? You can get it from Adorama, but I'm happy with it. I mean,
John Scott really doesn't have those yet?
He can't get them.
Why?
John Scott's with Robert's Camera. So if you guys are looking for, we'll put a little mention in for John Scott. If you want a camera store that actually will talk to you and take an order and give you some input, call John Scott at Robert's Camera. I mean, B&H and Adorama are great to look at and stuff because their website's very easy to navigate. But John Scott he's not just an order taker. He will help you decide what product to get. So he's really good. So we're talking about John Scott. That's the guy. But the SMDV, they have a distribution in North Carolina, and that's the only people that sell them, except for now I guess they're selling to Adorama under the Glow brand.
Yeah, I haven't purchased any yet. They look cool. I mean, the concept and how they work and how they flatten out looks so manageable and so simple. And they're thick.
Yeah, they're great.
I remember, the ones you had at SPAC were.
Yeah.
I love the build quality of them.
Yes.
The only problem then was I didn't like that you couldn't take the front diffuser off. It was there,
Now you can. Now with the Pro, you can, but they don't have strip boxes. Hopefully they'll come figure out a solution for strip boxes, but the coolest thing they have, and I'm not sure, you might have to get it directly from God, what is the name of that company? Didn't you meet the guy that I introduced you to him? He's hysterical. It was Tim McDonald that was with me. SMDV. It's Spring Distribution. You know what it is?
I have no idea.
Let me see. SMDV Flip is the name of the company, and it's Spring Distribution. Yes. So SMDV Flip is who you'd want to talk to. And let's see. Let me see if I can share my screen. I'll show. Let's see.
Don't mess it up.
I'm trying not to. Okay. Share. Okay. All right. Can you see?
Yep.
Okay. So this is the new Flip Pro that you can actually take the diffusion fabric out on the. Let's see if they have the speed and flip, which is really cool. Is this little deal they have set up? See this guy right here? That's for AD 200 or AD 100, and it's small, and you don't need a S bracket with it. It's all self-containing, so that's really cool. You can see it right there. They show, how that flash goes in there. Let's see here. 20-inch, 24-inch. I think I have the 24. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's really cool.
Is that what you've been using for your buddy light?
Right. Yes.
Your companion light, yeah.
Yep. So, and it comes with little gels and stuff. I mean, it's a pretty slick system. Yeah. I mean, it's the only it comes with those gels, and that's kind of like the what is the Magmod, where it has magnets,
it looks similar.
It just pops in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so you can do a lot of stuff with that. So that's a pretty cool little option. Spring Distribution is the name of them, but they like I said, I think Adorama's doing them now. But the only other option that I really use is the Westcott, to which I get from John Scott.
Yeah.
So there's that. But what was the other thing about the wind that I was about the let me see if I can get it back over here. Let's see here. Okay. So something that I had to teach my people about the wind is you of course you sandbag everything, right? What I found when I put my strip lights up and I put the stand up correctly, I use the Manfrotto 1004, the collapsible Manfrottos, the stackable ones. You bought those, didn't you? They're awesome.
I didn't buy this. No, not the stack ones that get flat.
Yes.
I didn't buy those ones. No, I have the ones that have stakes in them. They have the flip down stakes.
Uh-huh.
And I just stake my stands right into the grass.
Huh?
I've only found them. Sorry to get away from John Scott and Roberts. Roberts might have them, but I got those from Midwest Photo.
Yeah.
That's the only place I ever found them.
Huh. I don't think I've seen those.
They are they get really small, but they're pretty thin. But once you stake them down, they're like the claw. They've got the 3 legs, but then they have the flip down stakes, and you stomp on them, and they stomp right into the grass. And
how big are the stakes?
They're, I don't know, 3.5 inches.
They haven't flipped on you. They stay.
No, those haven't. If you put them in correctly, they do not move.
Right. That's the thing, is putting them in correctly and making sure that you have your sandbags the opposite side of the wind. Right. That was the thing that the kids would do. If you put the sandbag on the side where the wind is blowing, it's just going to blow right over. Yeah, it just helps it flip over. So I was catching that. And then the other thing is putting the leg. If the wind is blowing north, you have to have a leg that is facing north. You know what I'm saying? If you have 3 legs and if the direction of the wind, if that light stand is turned to where it's not facing so you have the sandbag on one side against the wind, and then you have to have a leg on the other side going with the wind. And once I do that, I don't have problems with those strip lights moving.
Right.
They stay pretty good, but you got to do it right. If you don't do it right, it's going to be blown over all day.
Yeah, there's a lot of little techniques like that just, if you don't mess with them in the wind, you just don't know. I mean, until you break stuff, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you just watch $1,000 lights tip over, and you're just like, oh my god. Yes,
that's why I quit taking pro photos to volume shoots outside. Period.
Yeah.
They're great, but
and the other, I guess, huge tip out there for you guys is that go out and buy some gigantic trash bags, clear trash bags. You can get them on Amazon or whatever, And if there's a threat of rain, just put those trash bags over the lights just at the beginning of the shoot. Then you don't have to worry about when it rains. You don't have to move everything. It just will keep the lights nice and dry. It might create a little bit of diffusion, but not a lot. And so it won't take a lot of power off your lights. But having those trash bags available is great. You got to have them in your trailer or in your truck at all times. You never know. I mean, if you're in the South, you never know what the rain's.
Well, and they got to be clear. Otherwise, your radio triggers won't work.
Yeah, they got to be clear. Mm-hmm. Got to be clear. And yeah. Then your lights wouldn't work anyways. You can go a little bit. You can shoot a little bit in the rain. What was the other trick that you had? If it rains in your did you say rear curtain or something so you won't get the raindrops in the photo?
Yeah, you need to use rear curtain sync on your flash, right? So if you just use the regular flash sync, if it's raining, yeah. So I mean, if your teams are down, which we're in Oregon, so they're always down to stay. It doesn't stop us. Instead of setting up tents, we'll just you got to keep your camera dry. And your lights dry, but the key to making rain look correct in an image is to use that rear curtain sync. That way the flash is last. So the shutter opens, then the flash hits and everything closes at the same time. Then if you don't do that, the rain looks like it's falling uphill. Looks like it's moving up in your image and it just doesn't look right. So just a tip if you ever have to do it.
Do you have to do anything to the Godox
gone through
lights?
Everything. Yeah, I mean you gotta bag them. You can't.
No. Is there any there's no setting you have to change on the Godox
that
light?
setting's
the only
all
thing
on
you're
your
doing
camera.
Is on your camera.
Mm-hmm. That's all on your camera.
Is there any other time that you use that?
Yeah, it works good with movement. So the other time, you'll see
if you do something
you'll
creative.
See images sometimes. Yeah, if you're doing creative stuff and you want to get a moving person or a moving object in your shot, you use rear curtain sync. That way, say you're shooting a track athlete, I think so when we were talking about this.
Yeah.
And you want to shoot with an ND filter on and drag that shutter a little bit and open it up and let the sprinter take off running right from the block maybe, and then you snap a photo as they're jumping up off the block. If you use rear curtain sync on your lights, then it will freeze your athlete like it's supposed to. But dragging that shutter and getting your exposure correct will create that movement in your shot, and then you'll get that crispy freeze at the end. Where they're the full body, but it'll kind of look like the ghost movement coming out. You can do that for a lot of different things. I mean, I've shot that way I've shot a lot of wedding shots that way back in my old life. It's where I kind of learned to do all that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't. I mean, I guess if you did a senior shoot or something like that, and you had some more time to experiment, that'd be a good spot to do that. You're not going to do it.
Yeah, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that in volume all the time because it might take you a few tries to get it. There's other ways to get movement in a shot, right? You can do the panning, you can do all that stuff. But again, if you set your stuff in rear sync when you're doing that, if you're using flash, you'll get more keepers. There's just little tidbits to help get a keeper.
All right. Well, that's some good bad weather advice.
Well, I made the Huffington Post one time. I don't know if I told you for being a bad weather wedding photographer,
yeah, you
but
told me
I had
times.
to.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, it was fun. then the Daily Mail picked it up too.
Oh, really? I've never been on any. No. Oh
no.
I think I made they had a list of best sports photographers in Atlanta, and I was number 10. But
out of 10,
it was I was number 10.
Was there only 10 of you? Oh,
it was all sports photographers. Smart ass. But the thing is it was like this. I don't know what it was. It wasn't like a legit paper. It was just some company that just, I don't know why they even did it. Just maybe they did a article and they listed the top 10. So it wasn't anything official. So I'm not really top 10.
I don't know if it's published, it's official, right? I mean, screw it. It sounds good. Yeah. I think it's cool.
Yeah, sounds good.
There's a lot of people in Atlanta.
I put it on my Facebook page, and it got a lot of people were real excited about it. So
it's good to be noticed. It doesn't matter necessarily who it's from. It's fun,
right?
It makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you're doing the right thing, right?
Right. So so that was a good thing.
Absolutely.
All right. And the other thing that I realized during this 3 weeks, we had, the month of March was insane. It was our biggest day, our biggest month ever with photo day. So that was pretty cool. I don't know if it was our biggest month in company history, but it was big month. So excited about that. But what we found is we have a certain way that we pose kids. Like, I mean, it is down, like we have it down to like the exact way to do it, to move fast. Like every little, like where you set your lights, where you put your lines, like how you hold the shoulder of the kid, the actual footwork that the assistant uses in order to move out of the way and make sure that the subject knows where the photographer is. And I always like to tilt the head a little bit, and the tilting of the head, there's a certain way you do it. And I caught a lot of employees that had been with me for a while and were getting sloppy, and then some new people that were not doing exactly the way we train them to do it, just like little tiny steps. And it's no big deal when it's, two teams, you got, 15 minutes a team or whatever. But when you have wind blowing shit everywhere and it's stressful, and you have, 87 teams to shoot that day, and it's 10 minutes per team. And if a light blows over, that means you're going to spend the next 3 minutes fixing that light, and that's going to back everything up. So seconds matter in those big shoots. Before you know it, you can get yourself an hour behind and piss everybody off. So seconds matter. And going through that with the employees and seeing like the people that are making mistakes, and by making those mistakes were causing us to go behind, just drove me crazy. Because we have a way you're supposed to do it. And when you do it right, then we can move through these kids fast. But if you do it wrong, then there's going to be big problems. Going through that experience was really good, especially right here that we're going to have Boatwright Boot Camp coming up in July. It just reaffirmed like the training that we do is really important. And if you follow like the methods that we do, like we practice it all the time, that it really works, and it works well. It's the best way to get a lot of photos fast, and get those kids through
good
there
photos
and get the leagues
fast.
moving. Good photos fast. Yes. But if you mess it up, if you don't have the right technique, then you're going to have a miserable shoot, and, we had some shoots that were halfway miserable. I'm here to tell you, they were brutal.
I remember you called me the one day. It was just brutal. It sounded like everything just wasn't going right. Yeah.
Oh my God. It was like Jody is my I call her my best girl. I have Scott, who's a photographer for me, and Jody, that we have 3 individual photographers. And she's just like, I just wanted to cry it's just the wind is maddening. And like the first 2 weekends with the wind, we weren't fully prepared, like we have never dealt with, 42 mile an hour wind gusts, sustained winds of like 17 to 20 mile an hour. That wasn't, I'm not in South Dakota like Brad Shook, we don't have to deal with it every day. So,
well, even at your boot camp, some people, you'd tell people this is what we do, and we put a couple sandbags on it. And I remember questions of, what do you do when it's windy? And you're like, oh, you just add a couple more sandbags. Well, sometimes it's not that simple, right? And I think you guys got the brunt of that this last month. So
yeah,
that's what people were talking about. Yeah,
it sucked, but at the same time, it was a really good learning experience. You know what I mean? I learned how to deal with that. So now I know. Now I'm going to be in the Huffington Post.
I heard somebody say, I don't know where I heard this. I heard it today or yesterday, but that's the sign of a professional. You're always learning, right? So, that's a whole nother thing. I think the day we figured all this out 100%, we all know it all, then we're fouled. Might as well pack it up. You're done.
It's ridiculous how I do the same thing every single day, and how much I learn every season. It is
right.
It's like it fascinates me every year. I'm like, well, I know I'm gonna learn something. I was like, I wonder what I'm gonna learn this year. What's gonna happen?
Just photography. It's crazy to me that it gets harder the more we do it, because we know what it takes to make a better image, right? So it's just that's a fact in this industry. It's incredible. It's what keeps me motivated.
I have a good story for you. So, first of all, like I don't know, typically when we go shoot a league for the first time, we get that, oh my gosh, this is so organized. Thank you guys, and you're doing it with a smile, and, your assistants are so friendly, a range of compliments, which I appreciate. But in the back of my mind, even sometimes when it shoots that I don't think went, maybe we got a B- or a C on that shoot for how we execute it, and we still get compliments. And my thought is always like, what in the hell are people doing on photo shoots? Like, what are they doing? Like how, right? Like,
Yeah.
how is it they are messing it up so bad that we come in and don't do our best job and we're getting all, just getting praise. So that fascinates me. And then, so we're at a shoot and I've been dealing with this one lady, and then I meet the president, and this lady, I mean, I'm just gonna go say she was beautiful. She's beautiful, this beautiful lady, and she was running the whole program, super friendly and nice, but she's strikingly pretty, and so we get done with the shoot, and at the end of the shoot,
like me,
her yeah, like you,
Yeah.
just when you meet, you just,
Sorry, go ahead. I couldn't help.
That was fantastic. Anyways, so anyway, at the end, she was the last team of the whole thing, right? And it was a sunset. So we, this two points here. First thing is that's the lady who's, over the whole league. Her team's last, and I just got the 24-70 lens 2.8, like literally brought to the shoot right then, like 15 minutes before the end of the shoot, because a guy at Reedy's our lab. That's awesome. So we use Reedy, and Mike that works at Reedy, his son plays in the league. So I just had that.
They're my
lens.
lab too.
Yeah. They're awesome.
Love
Stan
them.
Reedy. Yeah. They're fantastic. And they're in St. Pete, and Justin's in Oregon, and he still uses them. So that'll
don't care.
Something.
It's worth it.
Yeah. So Mike, who works at Reedy, brought the lens. I had the lens shipped to Reedy. He brought the lens to me. And so I had this new lens. And so I took her team and I did some wide angle stuff. I shot with a 7200 the whole time, but I did some wide angle stuff. And the thing is you have to always have your sales hat on, right? Like, you always have to be like, okay, this is the director. I got to make sure she's happy and impressed with our work. So I'm going to go the extra mile with her. Come on, girls, let's go over there. Look at that sunset. Let's do something cool. So we shot them our regular way, and then we redid the whole thing for her. And we stayed the extra 25 minutes to do that for her. You know what I'm saying? And I'll tell you what happened after that. But then she was telling me, at the end, thank you so much for everything. Like the photographer last year, he was a nightmare. He lied to me, didn't deliver the photos on time. And then she was like, and you know what? He was kind of a perv. I was like, what? Like, what? She's like, yeah, he was asking me for hugs.
Weird.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
That's creepy. No, that's weird.
That's so creepy. I guess when I'm sitting there wondering what other photographers do, the creepy ass asked the hot board for a hug.
No.
It's terrible. Like, what?
I did get done. I shot dance this weekend, and after the second day, the owner came up and hugged me. I didn't ask for it though, but
right.
I still got
that's
one.
a whole different situation, so, right? Yeah, like
right.
If they're coming in for a hug, yeah, absolutely. But
yeah,
I'm sure not going to ask for one.
Right.
That's just
creepy.
Like, it's so. It's just like, I was like, are you? I can't. Yeah.
Well, you never know. I mean, I picked up a big job here at home. We shoot it every single year in December. It's a really good money-making job for us, for where we shoot Santa pictures and stuff. But anyway, we got that job because the guy before me he creeped people out. So, I mean, you have to.
You can't do that.
You can't be a weirdo. You got just be a normal human, whatever that means, I guess, to you. Yeah. But everybody's normal is different. But
yeah, that was weird.
Mind your own business, really.
Well, the next morning she texted me and she's like, "Thanks again for everything. I've already had 2 other leagues that I gave your information. They're really interested in you taking their photos. So." Nice. You know what I mean? That was from going the extra mile at the end of the shoot and making sure she's taken care of. You know what I'm saying? And I did a great photo of her and her daughter, and we posted on social media. So I guess that's how she got contacted, right? So that was pretty cool. And then ended up, one of the leagues, I've actually taken their hockey photos. So so the whole thing went really well. But just being able at the end of the shoot, just be aware of your surroundings, and if there's a VIP there, I think what do they call them? I think that I forget what sales book there are. I think it might be his name will come to me. But there's certain types of people, and one of them is like they're called like a maven. There's somebody who knows everybody in the community. You know what I'm saying? Like there's that person. It's like you in Astoria. Like you know everybody in the community. So it would behoove any new business to get to know Justin. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know if I'd be that helpful, but
yeah,
maybe.
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
no, it's I mean, I've lived here 44 years though too, so it takes a while.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And you got a good personality. Like if a guy opened up a new business, one of the first things he'd probably want to do is invite Justin Grafton in to my new restaurant so he could go tell the world about my food.
I literally had a friend do this though. They started a new business and realized that I had a lot of friends that were local and literally tagged me in one of their business posts to try to get more people and was open and honest about doing it, but did it on purpose. So that's a thing. I mean, I try and post kids that I know, I'll post the coach's kid first, usually if I post a picture, right. And ask permission. Because I know that traction goes farther. So that's
you gotta find that person in the league, that volunteer that just really bust their ass. If there's always the one volunteer that that's doing 90% of the work, and if you can get, then they have, if you think about it, like of course they're going to be connected on Facebook to the whole league and probably to other people within the community. You find that person and you do some awesome photos of their kid and you post it on their Facebook page and just, you grow like that. I mean, you got to have your sales hat on at all times.
100%.
Yeah. I hate my sales background. I had to be in sales and it was traumatic.
I wish you would have called me trying to sell me insurance. I'd have given you a run for it. I'd have beat you up bad.
Oh my gosh. It was so bad. I used to drive like literally 3 hours one way in the hopes of a $300 sale. And I've been stood up so many times driving that far and you pull up and nobody, you're the last person they want to see selling something like that,
Yeah.
And then them just not even like having a great conversation and I'll be there tomorrow at 6:00 and then they don't show. They no show. They don't answer their cell phone. Yeah. It was bad.
But they got better things to do. Yeah, that would be horrible.
That was rough. That's why I won't ever complain about this. Show up. Everybody's happy.
I think back in my days too. Like we work hard doing this, and I love that. And I'm kind of a workaholic, so it goes hand in hand. But yeah, I don't think I could ever do anything different again. It's just too much better. It's so much better. It's such a better lifestyle. Even as hard as we work, it's just so much more fun.
Oh yeah. It's a blast.
Even the bad days are better than some of the best days back in the construction days. So
man, that it was pretty wild. The Tampa trip this go around was pretty wild. And the experience that we stayed at a place called Ybor City. And we stayed in, that was quite the experience. I mean,
is that are you going to take over the Airbnb services from now on? Are you going to make sure you like the place?
Oh my God. Oh yeah. Karina put us in our first Airbnb was we call it, how you have your little group text message? When we were staying in that Airbnb, it was called Moth World because it smelled like mothballs. I mean, you opened up, you could taste it on your tongue. That's how strong the mothballs were. It was awful. It was awful.
No. I hate that smell so much.
Oh my gosh. And Lisa Malice lives down there. And so she was telling me that it was like something about snake away. I'm like, oh, that's better. So rather than mothballs, it was
so you don't have a snake under your pillow when you go lay down or something?
Correct. Yeah. So we did. So we did that. And I didn't even tell Jody and Amber that it was snake away and not, I bet, because they would have completely freaked out. Well, Amber wouldn't.
Well, now they're going to know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I told her afterwards, and Jody's like, yeah, I'm glad you didn't tell me that. So it was that. And then the next one, I'm going to the next Airbnb, and Karina sends me the rules, and the rules are like 2 pages long. I'm like, what in the hell is this? And we're in Florida, and it says you can't put the temperature below 75 degrees. I'm like, nope, that's terrible.
Dude, I would pass out. That's too hot for me. I haven't been above 48 degrees since Florida.
Yeah. It was awful. So we changed the name of the group text message. It was Hotbox after that. Hotbox. And that place was crazy. It was all right, but it was the the craziest Airbnb I've ever stayed in because you had to pay $5 if you want to do a load of laundry, which that pissed me off. Like I wasn't going to do laundry.
Holy cow.
$5. And then everything there had a price tag on it. Like if you wanted water, it was $1. If you wanted LaCroix, $2. If you wanted the Tito's bottle, that was $25. Like everything had a price on it. Have you ever?
No, that sounds horrible.
Yeah. And they're like, you have to leave the place exactly as you found it. And it's just
what are the reviews? Like, did anybody read the reviews? Like,
yeah, I guess they were good. I mean, I think it was in Ybor City. So Ybor City is kind of like a party place, you know? It's the cigar capital of the United States is what they said. It was like Arturo Fuentes has a big factory there. And so all the houses around in Ybor City were based on, you know, the people that were making the cigars. So it's really interesting, but then it went downhill and it got really, you know, just nasty for a lot of years. And now it's being rebuilt and now it's kind of a party place. There's like a Coyote Ugly there and stuff, you know, there's, you know, it's a cool bar scene, but it still is kind of dangerous. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, you know, you still have a pretty bad element there. You don't really want to walk around. Like the locals will tell you, you know, be where you're going to be at 10 o'clock or don't be out after dark or whatever, you know? So I think what may have happened is like, they just have gotten burnt so many times by people who come there just to party and they must've just left the place a wreck. So that's why they were so heavy on the rules. That's the only thing I can, you know, I guess I kind of get that, but yeah, it was an interesting place.
$5 to do laundry. No. How do they know?
No.
How do they know how many loads you did?
They were just like, we know. And I'm like, do you have a camera here? Like, how do you know? They're like, don't try to trick us because we know. And here's our Venmo account. Like, I was like, yeah, it was a little bit of a weird experience.
Yeah, that's odd.
Yeah. What do you do? 47 minutes.
That's pretty good for not even really having a plan.
No, I mean, there's never a plan. I like the plan though. We have to plan about inclement weather. I don't want to tell you the whole thing because then I don't want you to sound so, you know, because you have a real problem being too stiff.
Oh, do I?
Yeah, you're just too stiff. You can't even. You just clam up.
Yeah, I'm not a good speaker.
Oh, yeah. So man, so Sync is already on it.
Yeah, Sync's been adding a lot of people. Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
I'm not on that list. Not yet.
Okay, let's see.
I mean, I'm going one way or another. I think it'll be fun. I really enjoyed last year. I love that they keep I love that they have the volume and the seniors, you know, together. I think those two things go hand in hand. I said it earlier. We had a Trailblazer meeting. We were all talking about it, but I think that I think it's smart. I think it will help keep population up too. You know, it's combining. I like combining those two things.
Yeah. So anybody who hasn't been to Sync, they used to had the Sync Sports in the summertime, and they had the Sync Seniors. Is that what it was called? Seniors in the winter, and so they combined. Mm-hmm. Last year was all virtual, and then this year they combined it, and they did it in Destin, right? Sandestin.
This next year's in Fort Myers, so the weather will be hotter.
Yes, that'll be good. And then they're going to still combine it.
Yeah.
So Darty,
I think it's good.
Yeah. I mean, Darty does a great job. It's what he does for work. I mean, I think does he do any photography, or this is his job?
I'm not sure. I don't know Darty and Michelle too much except for this last year. So I imagine he probably was at one time. He knows everybody, so that's kind of cool, you know.
And I think SPAC put their dates out as well.
Okay.
So, you know, we love SPAC too. And then Imaging USA is going to be in Nashville.
I don't know anything. I've never been to Imaging.
Yeah. It'll be interesting.
And I haven't been to WPPI in 2 years. I feel bad about that. But I've been to a lot of different conferences. You know, I've been to some big ones. And I don't know, Sync just felt like everybody was more accessible. You know, you go to some of these other ones, like SPAC is great too, but I feel like SPAC is really built for the big boys, you know, the giant ones.
Boat Ride Boot Camp has Justin Grafton and James Quantz Jr.
How did you befriend James Quantz? That guy is a legend. I don't get it. This year's going to be killer.
Yeah, I can't wait. So
Yeah.
let me tell you something. So James Quantz is coming to the boot camp 2.0. So you have to have been to a boot camp in order because the first boot camp is so much information. Like it's a lot. And we show you all the techniques we use. And Justin and the Shooks and the Martins, we have a lot of photographers who are using the same system for years, are all there helping you. And so it's a lot of information. Of course, Karina on the back end, helping, with all the business processes and scheduling and employees, it's so much crammed into 2.5 days. So we can't have James come in then because there's not enough time. So that's why
it's already overwhelming. Yeah.
It's already overwhelming. Right. Then adding that. So now we're going to add James. So the 2.0. So the boot camp has 4 spots left, and I think like 4 people are like, I'm signing up. So it's gonna fill up. And then the 2.0, if you go to the first one, then you go to the second one, which is with James Quantz Jr. And Justin and I have some really awesome plans that we're excited about. So we're already working on the agenda, and we're both. And I think what's cool about it is we're excited about it because we want to do it ourselves. It's not like we're throwing some techniques out there that we're not ever going to use. We're like wanting to use this stuff for ourselves. So I'm super excited about it.
Absolutely. Now, just to be clear, you don't have to go to the Denver one to be able to go to. I mean, you do have to go to a boot camp. You don't have to specifically go to the Denver one just to go to the Denver 2.0, but you do have to have gone to one, right?
You have to have gone to one previously. Yeah. So having James there, that 2.0 is kind of a special thing for the people who've already gone to boot camp. But if you still want to be part of that, then if you sign up for the one for boot camp with a few spots left, then you can also sign up for 2.0. So it'll be a week of, it'll be in Denver, Colorado in July. That's pretty awesome. First of all. Yeah. And then second of all, learning the first part and then getting the advanced stuff with James Quantz is going to be, it's going to be a special one. I'm excited about it.
I'm excited about all of it. It's going to be super fun. It just is. What's incredible is the relationships you build when you go to these things, right? It doesn't matter what conference, what training course you go to, whatever it is. It's all these relationships that we built over the years. I'm still friends with some of the people I went to the very first WPPI and met, and those friendships still pay dividends today. So if you're new to the industry and you're still, on the fence about what to spend your money on next, I would suggest spending it on one of these things. Whether, go to a trade show, go to this boot camp. You don't even have to go to Jay's. Go to a different one if you want, but spend your money on that, because even if you just take a little bit of information from one of those, it goes so far. And then the relationships that you make and the friendships you build over the years, those never go away, ever. So,
that's a great point. And some of the bigger conventions are a little less expensive than the boot camp, but a lot of them are, if you want more detail, the 4-hour class, there's nothing like the boot camp where it's actually taking photos. Like you're actually taking photos, and it's like in depth, like it's the techniques that we use every day. So I feel like, the thing about it is the way we shoot when we go outdoors to shoot, and you have to go to a different location every time. You have to find out where the sun's going to be, where the people are going to be, where you're going to set up your lights. You have so many factors to go through. I think that's such a complicated process that if you can grasp these ideas, then the rest of the stuff is going to be easy.
What I'm saying? I mean, 100%. Well, and then even if you get all that down and you understand that, now throw wind in there that you've never really dealt with, and now you have a whole new thing. So like you were talking about Jody and Scott earlier, some of them were crazy and they were getting a little bit sloppy because they were, to me personally, sounds like they were having to deal with something extra that they weren't typically used to, right?
Correct.
And so if you don't have your fundamental part down, where it just is second nature, where you don't have to think about it, you're going to have a really hard time and get stressed out dealing with, a problem that has arisen that you're not used to. And then all your other stuff's going to start going to heck, so you have to learn the fundamentals of the biz, or it's not going to be fun. You're going to give up fast.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, I got that in my back pocket where I know, like, let's say if Jody, Jody's my second shooter and she's a fantastic assistant. She can pose and I can pose. We're, and Scott, we're the best at posing, right? So if we get the opportunity to work together, then we can absolutely fly. So I always have that in my back pocket. Let's say if the wind is going crazy or the rain or whatever, as long as I secure everything and I can start shooting, if I have a really good assistant, I know I can always catch up. I can go fast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you had an assistant that wasn't doing things properly, not only are you going to be fighting the elements, then you're going to be fighting like, okay, you don't have them pose right. You can't move. They can't move their head that way. Like, what do? You know what I mean? Like, you can't move. Like, a terrible habit of assistants is posing the kids and walking away. That drives me. That makes me curse out loud in front of everybody. Like, what are you doing? They're 4 years old. You have to stand right beside that child and make sure I get the shot before you walk away. I'm sorry. You cannot go talk to your girlfriend over there and find out what she's doing tonight. We have to get one kid in every 40 seconds. We don't got time.
You want to take that cell phone and huck it out into the park?
It's just like, I can't, it drives me crazy when they don't listen or we don't have employees moving with urgency. Anything like that just drives me insane, but yeah. So we're, so it's learning experience, but point is learn a system, perfect that system, and really just hone it in every time you shoot. And then it's like when you go to boot camp, you're going to learn a million different things and it's going to be so overwhelming. And then you do it for a few years and you have it down. And then I feel like whenever I learn something like this whole wind thing that I went through, I feel like it's such a big deal. I feel like so excited that I learned how to deal with the wind now. Like I know how to do it. And it's exciting.
Yeah.
That's it. You going to watch the game?
You know what time is it on soon? 5:30?
Not on till it's another hour.
I don't even know. I have not watched. I've been so busy. I have not watched one March Madness game.
I'm trying to think.
I missed Coach K's last game. I'm kind of bummed. I'm not even a
Duke fan. I watched
the
St. Peter's. Yeah, I watched St. Peter's. Yeah, I watched them. I forget what the name of their mascot was. That was funny. St. Peter's. I watched them, and then I watched the girls a couple games. The girls, I love watching the girls. They can play.
Is UConn still undefeated for like 70 years? Or Stanford finally won, didn't they? I think.
No, it was South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
South Carolina won. They have a girl that's 6'7". They're getting rebounds. It was ridiculous. UConn couldn't get a rebound all game. Girls just
crazy.
Stand there. Yeah, 6'7". Can you imagine?
No, that's incredible.
Yeah, let's get off before we get in trouble. All right. All right. Till next time.
Yeah. Bye.
All right, man.